James, very good to have you here. What time is it? What time is it for you?
It's 9 o'clock in the morning. So,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
no, it's okay. I'm always up early anyway because we have the farm, right? So I have to do my farm chores in the morning. So me and my daughter was out chasing the cows and the sheep and the goats and all the stuff this morning. So we had a hectic morning.
Okay, sweet. And do you does that include like getting milk from the cows, cleaning them up and everything like that as well? Is that a
Yeah,
regular?
we feed everybody first. So my wife is usually the head of the farm. So we have the chickens we take care of course, the pigs, cows, goats, dogs, and all the rabbits and all the other things that we have and all the chicken. It's just a whole ordeal. So it's it's a whole morning procedure. It has to be done strategically, and everyone wants their food first, so they're all screaming and shouting, and all the cows are mooing, and it's quite a great way to start your day.
Have you ever had to like chase the chickens like if they get out of the coop because like, they're pretty fast on their feet?
No, my chickens are free range. They're out all day. They have a big coop at night. They put themselves. The chickens are the easiest. I don't know what people would like. We have this misconception that in the morning they have a solar powered door. When the sun comes up, the door opens. They come out. They're easy. At nighttime, the sun goes down. They go to sleep. That's it. They're the easiest. It's all the other ones that the cows are demanding, the dogs are demanding, the pigs are demanding, all the other ones want that. But no, it's a great way of living, so it's nice.
That sounds pretty cool. So James, we haven't seen you or heard from you since Paris. I mean, I know I've browsed your Instagram and stuff, and I can see you've been active doing all the good stuff. But I mean, just generally speaking, haven't.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I was kind of sitting and just seeing how the land was lying when I got back from Paris. Of course, a little bit of frustration, a little bit of disappointment, and and just let it play out the way it played out, I guess. So it's very hard, right? So you have to just kind of. At first, I was kind of disappointed with like kind of all realms, but I think it's like the more I've had time to think about it. From a business standpoint, I don't have any frustration or any for Glory itself. I understand exactly what they did, and I know why they obviously had to make a fight as soon as possible. Because of course you get more information, right? You understand more information. What information is that? So from my side. I kind of heard that television from Paris wasn't paying Glory, I don't think, because there were so many reimbursements were offered or demanded, if you like. So they needed to put on a show as soon as possible. So I guess from my side, when I got the message like, oh, James, do you want to fight October or November? And I suggested November because October, my wife had a surgery. My fight team had all left and gone home. I had no one to train with. I've been out of the country for like 2 weeks in Paris. My climatization is on European schedule, not American schedule. And I come back and I've got to train for like 1 week and then go to Bulgaria. My time zones would be all over the place. So I just felt like November was a better fit for everybody. Give Badr time to take care of what he needed to take care of in Morocco. That's what I thought was the obvious route. But now, obviously, seeing how that played out, I kind of understand that Glory needed to put on a show as soon as possible and needed to kind of compliment the fans. I just felt as Badr, hey, listen, if someone was ready to fight me and I pulled out like on the dying second, and when I say dying second, 30 minutes before the fight, A, I would never do that under any circumstances. But B, if I did do that, whether you like me or I don't like the opponent, I'd say, you know what, I ain't fighting nobody else. I'm fighting that guy.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
That's how it should be done. You know what I mean? That's how it should be done. I was nothing but respectful to Badr the whole way through the training camp. I have a lot of ammunition I could fire at that fucking idiot. I could have said lots of different things about him. I was nothing but respectful to him. Even at the press conference, I carried the press conference because he didn't want to. I'm not in the mood to speak. Like he's so serious. And then he snitches me the last 30 minutes. When I go and see him, he's like, "Oh, hey, bro. Oh, I'm sorry, bro. Oh, now we're bros." 10 minutes later, he does an interview, and people send it to me, and I'm just I'm the extra on the movie set. I'm just the extra. But listen, the guy's just a piece of shit. That's just he come into K1 a piece of shit. He was rude to everybody when he came into K1. Remember back in the 1990s, 99, 2000, all the K1 guys hated him because he was a mouthy young kid, no respect for anybody. He's been exactly the same his whole career. He has not respected one single person in the industry. He's not had any martial arts composure towards anybody. And he's got what he deserves. The last 7, 8 years, he couldn't win a fight if he was fighting himself.
So, I mean, but like obviously we haven't seen the things that you've seen behind closed doors. So when you went to see him, was there any kind of was there any kind of assurance like, okay, look, we can reschedule this or whatever it might be, or is it just?
No, listen, I went into his room because he didn't have the decency to come down to me, which I thought you should do as an opponent. If you pulled out for any reason, I don't know, I've never pulled out, but if I did, I would go down and say, listen, man, I'm really sorry. I know you got ready for the fight, but my mind is all over the place. My country is in mayhem. I just can't focus. I hope you understand. Look, you get my word, we shake hands and we'll do this the next one. But he didn't come down to me. I went up to him because I asked him, well, where is he then? And he's not going to come down. So I said, okay, I'll go and see him. So I went upstairs and I just got, hey, bro, give me a handshake. And I was like, listen, is your family okay? Because that was my first concern.
Right,
and
understood.
Said, yeah. And I said, is your friends all right? And he said, yeah. I said, well, pray to God. Like that's the bigger picture, right? Let's take the bullshit aside. That's the bigger picture here. And he's like, yeah. And then I said, listen, I don't know what's going on with you. You know, I think we should fight. Why don't we just fight? You know, and then I was going to donate 10% of my purse to the Moroccan charity. He can donate what he wants. And he said, no, it's not a time for fighting. It's a time for prayer. And I said, okay, we can pray after the fight together. We'll get everybody, you know, just make a big. And then he said, no. So which is okay. I respect his decision. And he said, I'll get you next time. And I was like, okay, let's do that. But I from my side of it, like I said, I don't blame Glory whatsoever because they're a business. I've had to make business decisions that other people may not understand because I'm coming from the head of my business, like McSweeney Martial Arts, my gyms. I've had to make decisions inside that other people don't see at first because I know more information about my business than they know, right? So they obviously made a smart decision. They had to put a fight on as soon as possible. On his side of it, morally, I mean, we're talking about morals probably from a guy that doesn't have any. I believe that he should have said, you know what, if James says November, let's do November. Or James deserves to fight me. You know.
Sorry to cut you off, but just to understand, like, is it the case that, you know, we always hear this rhetoric that, you know, Badr is the guy who's going to sell the tickets, etc., etc. And I mean, the French card, as far as I, as a viewer, watched, it still did amazing. I mean, it would have been amazing to have you guys doing your thing, but even without that, we still had a very nice show. And I guess what I'm trying to figure out is that, is it the case that maybe we're a bit too dependent on Badr's appearances on every card?
Well, I think that's like, I don't know, like yet again, I don't own Glory and I don't look at I don't know their numbers and I don't know their pay-per-view sellings. I don't know. And I'm not even going to guess. Sure. But what we're doing is, from a business standpoint, as in me as an athlete, not from me as I don't own Glory. Yeah. So as a business, as an owner, what we're doing, I fought in the UFC, I fought in ONE FC, I fought KSW, I fought for every biggest Lumpini. What I'm getting at is no one's ever bigger than the show. When I fought for the UFC, it's very clear, if you don't make weight, you're in trouble. Like, you're going to get fined. If you do it twice, you're out. No one was bigger than the show. What we've kind of seen to happen is that we've got a guy, it seems like it doesn't matter what he does. I mean, have you ever seen somebody, okay, look, let's go to the, now everyone knows the things that I know, right? In the fact that when I went into this fight, it seems like media have got blinkers on. Badr's gone through a rough spell. Let's be honest. He hasn't gone for a rough spell. He hasn't won in 8 years. Almost 8, maybe 7 now, right? That's not a rough spell. That's never winning a fight. That's 0-7 in Glory. 0-7. But you're still in the top 10 in the world. You're ranked number 4 in the world. How's that possible?
Right? Who does the rankings? I've never really.
I don't know. But what I'm getting at is, and then you got people out there like that. If you failed drug tests, I know he failed a bunch. It was kept quiet, didn't go public. There's things that's being done behind the scenes. I mean, so you're giving somebody the power above the show. So pretty much they can do whatever they want. They can show up late for press conferences. They don't have to take photographs of media. They can pull out before an event. And Badr still gets given whatever the fuck he wants. I don't know what he had. It seems logistically terrible as a business. But what I'm getting at is you're building a platform so then other people, young fighters coming up that see that behavior, they're going to mirror it. Because they think, well, Badr got away with it. I'm bigger than him, or I'm as big as this. Why can't I? I ain't going to press conferences. I ain't going to make weight. I ain't going to go to photo shoots. I'll pull out whenever I want to pull out. Well, Badr did it, and that's the kind of mentality you're creating. You only see what you learn from what you see, and I believe that's what we've seen over the last couple of years from that behavior. I mean, it's just ludicrous to me when I sit there at a press conference and someone's just going, "I'm not going to talk." Well, you're paid to talk, buddy. You're paid to talk. This is what you're paid for.
Is it the same? Like, we often, again, it's just a parallel that I know, like often when you hear, through the UFC machine that you see, or like big boxing bouts, you see some of these guys and they're like, I'm tired of media. Is it the same? Do you experience a similar level of media obligations within the sport of kickboxing?
Everybody's tired. Nobody wants to do media certain obligations, right? But the fact is, you have to think about this. And this is where I think his brain is so like egotistically above. We need the fans. Fighters need fans, right?
Yeah.
Promoters need fighters. Fighters also need media. Why not? Because without either one of those circles, nothing works. Without no fans, we ain't getting paid. Without no promotion, we can't no platform the fight. Without media, there's no attention. There's no one thinking about or drawing it. So what I'm getting at is, we have to do these obligations because, with no disrespect, you mentioned me about to come on your show. I could have said, no, fuck it. No, I said, no, of course I will. Because we have a right. And also it's professionalism. You know what I mean? And it's not about getting your voice heard. It's just about doing the right thing. And you need relationships with fighters. We need relationships with you guys. And that's how it should be done. What made me like I couldn't believe is that at the press conference, it isn't the first time we've seen this, right? We've seen this numerous occasions. Oh, I'm not speaking. I'm not in the mood. And then and then when his own person from Morocco spoke to him in Arabic, he didn't even acknowledge him. Just looked dead ahead. The guy was there speaking in Arabic to him. He didn't even acknowledge him, but he cares so much about his Moroccan people. After the event, there was like 3,000 Moroccans outside the venue. He didn't go and see one of them. It took me an hour and 45 minutes to walk through those people to get to my car. I took so many pictures and talked to the Moroccan people. Yeah, but it's not because of anything else, but they didn't get to see the fight they wanted. So you kind of have to give them something but he cared so much about his Moroccan people that he just like, nah, fuck them. They're outside. I'm going to go out the back door. Everyone knew they was out there. We're going to start seeing like this person for what it is. He doesn't give a shit about the sport. He doesn't give a shit about the people. He doesn't give a shit about his fans. And I know a lot of people can be upset about that, and they should be upset. But don't be upset at me for telling the truth. You should be upset at that guy for fake advertising.
Okay, well, I think one key takeaway that I've got from this is the fact that the organization has looked after you, or has at least given you I don't know what obviously happens behind closed doors, but you've at least had a good conversation with them. And have there now been conversations of how, I'm talking about for yourself as James now, how you'll move forward? I mean, do you have some ideas of what you want to do next? Because I'm guessing with Badr, it's ambiguous at the minute.
From my side, unfortunately, there's been no conversation. Last time I got a message from Glory, they messaged me and said that it didn't look like, because they were trying to get me on the November card to qualify for the tournament. And then I got a message saying it doesn't look like that's possible. And I said, okay, then what's the plan? And then I never got a reply. And that was probably over a month or so ago. To be honest, I thought it was kind of strange because I said to them that the tournament was going to be in December, I think, right? Originally December. And I said, well, why can't we make the fight in November then? And they said, because it's too close to the tournament in December. And they give Badr to the other guy to fight in October, and then they move the tournament to next year. It's not even December anymore. So we could have had the fight in November, right?
I see your point. No, but if in an ideal world, like right now, is there, it doesn't have to be a call up, but more just when you see the landscape as it is there, you know, someone you'd like to test yourself against, or maybe there's I don't know, an event that you see coming up that on the schedule that you'd like to be a part of?
To be honest, I mean, everyone in the top 10, I think, I mean, they're great fighters, right? They deserve to be there, which is awesome. They've won their fights. They're working their way up the ladder. I really don't know 80% of them, right? The new names. They're new guys coming up, which is awesome. Look, the sport, I'm not saying that in a derogatory way. I'm just saying they're new young lads that are coming up. And I'm an old soldier. I've been around a long time. So they're not new names for me. But to be honest, I really don't have like, oh yeah, that's the guy I wanted to get. I kind of only had that mentality for, I mean, I like the rematch with Saki would be a fight that would really interest me, and having us both have a real training camp and relive that fight properly. I don't know if he'll even entertain that, because he just seems to have disappeared after our fight. But yeah, I really don't know about that. But anything else? Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's just my mind was on the Badr fight because that was meant to be, you know, that I had a lot of history. And then my mind after that was on the tournament. So it seems like both of those have just fell away. And it seems a little bit like, to be honest, that I don't know, a little bit unfair for me, because like I felt like I did everything correct. I trained very hard for that training camp. I did all the media obligations. I even flew to Holland 3 weeks before my fight to promote it at the event before that. I did some commentary work. And yet again, like I said, I'm not trying to cry about it. It's my business. It's what I do for a living. It's okay. It's just I would have liked to have had, you know, the event at the end of it.
Oh, I understand.
But now, I mean, is there any interest to fight Badr now? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I mean, to be honest, and I'm not trying to be rude to his name. What's the guy he just fought?
Uku, yeah.
I don't know if I pronounced his name wrong. Yeah, I commentated his fight when he fought in the tournament in the show before. He fought a 200-pound, 205-pound fighter, which was an aggressive Turkish lad, but wasn't a real heavyweight. And he got the shit beaten out of him for all 3 rounds. And the kid was injured when he came into the fight. But I still knew he was going to beat Badr. I still knew he would beat Badr. So, I mean, where does it really leave the division right now? I mean, Badr, he has one more fight. Well, to be honest, who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck how many fights you have left? You haven't fought in the last 7 years. And it's always the same tune, right? I was winning up until, well, that's how fights go. You win until you lose, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I have no idea what's next. I mean, to be honest, the Glory can come at me and with an offer, and I could look into it, and I'll be happy to discuss further. And if they don't come at me with an offer, I don't know. Then that's it, I guess.
Well, the world's your oyster. I mean, you've got such a lengthy career and so many skill sets that I'm sure you'll keep yourself busy. You seem like that type of guy.
Yeah, and listen, I've had the fight offers have never been an issue for me. I've had a ton of fights, right? Over 107 fights in my career. So they're not because I've had a hard time finding fights. If I wanted to fight, I could find one.
Yeah.
I'm at an age and stage in my life where, you know, I'm okay. I'm financially, touch wood. I'm very stable.
That's good.
I made good business investments. I have a beautiful family. I have my farm. I have my gyms. I'm just in a good place. So I think for me, it's like it's hard probably to deal with someone like me as a business, because I'm not like a 21-year-old or 25-year-old kid that like just I'll do anything to fight for the big show. Oh, please, I'll fight for free. Just put me on. That's just not where I'm at in my life anymore. You know, I was like that when I was a kid. I was dying to fight in the UFC. I would have done anything. They locked me in the house for 6 weeks to get a UFC contract. Would I do that today? Absolutely not. But when you're younger, you'll have more, you know, you have more freedom for it. So for me, I'm a difficult person to deal with, because financially I'm okay. I don't need it. If it was just about the fighting, it would be beautiful, because I love to fight and I love just to fight. But when there's just clear bullshit politics like this, but it's so clear cut in your face, it's a hard pill to swallow. I've got to be honest.
No, and I can sense that from everything that you're saying, that there's a lot of things that you're feeling at the moment. But James, I tell you what, there's, in the meantime, and this is just me as a fan, as a guy who watches the sport, I really enjoyed you behind the commentary booth. I think that if whilst you're waiting, you get you get a chance to do more of that. Even just like, I think you'd be a great, also just to help promote this stuff, you know, because like you said, there's many people that we don't know anything about, and maybe that's because of promotional issues. So, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I actually spoke to Glory Media before. They contacted me after the Badr fight and said, like, we really enjoyed your commentary. Would it be something you'd be interested in? I said, yeah, I would love to be interested with that. And I spoke to them before, and I can very much separate me as a professional fighter in one column and me as an analyst in another column, or a commentator in another column, because there's no, it's just business, right? So there's no financial, there's no emotion in that. And I know I could do a professional job, and I bring a lot of experience from different realms and into the commentary booth, which would be fantastic. And I also believe we could help with some of the fighters that, like, if there's language barriers, okay, well, let's get them speaking English. I know it sounds terrible in the Dutch world, but it's not. They need to speak English if they're going to make a big worldwide broadcast. And also let's tell some jokes. I mean, even people like, you know, Conor McGregor, he's fantastic what he does, but he had to go for speech therapy because his accent was so strong, no one could understand him. He had to go through speech therapy. And a lot of people have to do that. A lot of guys, like, if you noticed when you see Khabib from the UFC back in the day, his English was very, very minimal. Now he's got a very good sense of humor and speaks very good English, and he's doing amazing podcasts, amazing interviews. And since he brought that personality out, people have really warmed to him. Before that, he was like a clean-cut soldier. No one really like, he just, you know, I'm going to kill you. And that was it. You know, but that's what we kind of need, I think, to make some of these characters match up, not just their skills as an athlete or a fighter, but their skills also as personalities.
No, 100%. And I had no idea that Conor needed speech therapy, so I'm learning something new every day.
Well, there's a lot of athletes over the years that have had to. I mean, look at Anderson Silva. He was trying to hide behind. He couldn't speak English. I've spoken to Anderson a bunch of times. I know he speaks English, but what really helped him out towards the end was that he could actually conversate in the American dialect, and that really took him to a bigger level. George St. Pierre had a very big French accent from Montreal, but his English got better and better and better, and it matched up to his skills in the cage, and he could actually self-promote and make massive revenue. So it's really is a bigger business than you think.
I think we should make it clear that it's not, you know, we didn't decide that English is the language that everyone speaks. It just happens to be the international.
It's not because I'm English. I'm saying that it's just because of, if you look at the network where we're broadcasting, well, why is Glory not so big in America? Well, kickboxing used to be one of the biggest sports in America. Go back to the 1990s, Duke Rufus and people like that. I fought Michael McDonald, the K1 champion of America. These guys were massive in America, huge. But it's fallen off when the UFC come around, because kickboxing never really had any characters to broadcast. And now we do have a really high level of kickboxing in the world. But unfortunately, a lot of the people are from Europe, which means they don't speak much English. So it's very hard for the American people to say, oh, I want to watch that guy because of...
Yeah, it is. You can't get behind the personality.
Well, you can't gel with you can't communicate or gel with the person because you know what they're saying, right?
Exactly.
So it's just now down to kickboxing. And if you don't really know the sport, one kickboxing fight for another, then it's the same.
Let's do some rapid fire things, okay? So Do you think that one championship and Glory should come together and merge the kickboxing world, not entirely, but for cross-promotional events?
Absolutely not.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe a little bit less rapid. Why do you think that?
Well, because I fought for ONE FC. ONE FC is an amazing production, great show. Shatri is, he's got his eyes on the prize. He's a busy man. Even though me and him had our differences, I would always respect him as a businessman. I think if we had one conversation face to face, it would have just gone down. It was more of an online manipulated scenario, me and him. But his show has been fantastic from the beginning. He treats his fighters very well. I'm not saying Glory don't. I just think if you put two big chefs in one kitchen, you have a problem. Right.
Okay.
So Glory's a big chef, Shatri's a big chef, and what I'm getting at is one's either gonna take over the realm of one, or one's gonna eat the other one, and they're not gonna be able to go side by side, and because there's just too much work being done from both ends.
You're the first person to say that. I asked two other people and they had a different opinion. But okay.
Yeah, because it depends on the opinion, right? If you're looking at it from like just a fight versus fight standpoint, you have some amazing fights there. But
that was the angle.
If you look at it as a business, is it gonna work? That will not work as a business. It's never as clean cut as, because look, if you put a Glory, you put Rico versus the ONE FC champion. I don't know who that is. It was Murat. I beat Murat. I gave him his first loss, and then he went to next fight ONE FC and won the belt. So you put him against Rico walks all over him in 5 seconds. So then you're going to say, okay, well, Glory's better than ONE FC. Well, ONE FC ain't like that.
Yeah.
So we're going to work out, that wouldn't work as a business. Okay.
Can I get two thoughts? So we have Rico and Cookie. I don't know if you're following that at all, but any thoughts on a potential outcome?
Rico.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. 100%.
Okay. Are you going to be watching John Jones versus Stipe Miocic?
No.
Do you still watch UFC or you done with it?
Very rarely. If it's someone, can you... Sorry. Okay. It's okay. Just show me the subject, please. Sorry, guys. My poor guy just showed up. And my dog's barking at him. If it's someone I know, or I know there's a really interesting fight coming along, I'd be interested. Stipe is an okay fighter, but he's obviously, listen, John is head of the food chain there. He's made that very clear. It's going to be another occasion for John to actually show everyone how good he is, which is awesome if you want to watch it. I've seen him a bunch of times. I trained with him back in the 10, 12 years ago, back in Albuquerque when he first came to Jackson's when I was there. Super talented kid back then. Now he's a super talented man, and he's showing everyone how much he's evolved. He's too dominant. No one's going to touch him.
Okay. Jamie, you know what? I wish, unfortunately, we do have a time limit. Otherwise, I would have loved to continue this conversation. We need to catch up again when you have time. I want to, when you have time and really figure it out. Like, even if, we'd love to talk to you more about upcoming UFC events or Glory cards, regardless of when that other stuff happens.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's a real pleasure. And one thing I'm really sad I didn't get a chance to ask you about, but next time for sure. Guys, make sure, one thing I just want to say is that, James, you always seem like you're in really good shape. And from looking at your Instagram, it really looks like you look after your body. And so it'd be lovely to get your advice on that in the future on how, us guys who are just, everyday people, how we can emulate that,
Yeah, for sure. No problem at all. Now or next time?
Unfortunately, I have to keep it.
Let's do it next time. No problem at all. Now, there's some simple guidelines to follow. And when you learn what they are, you're like, oh, that's so simple. It's so easy. But sometimes it just doesn't click sometimes. Too many commercials.
Thank you so much, James. And I hope things become clearer from now on. I really do.
Yeah, listen, from my side, it's very clear. We're just going to see what happens. I think everyone is fully aware of the situation, so just let everyone do their thing, let it settle down, move on. There's a big tournament coming up next year. It's going to be very interesting to watch. My eyes will be on that for sure, and just not even as I'm not going to be in it clearly. So it's more just as a fan. So keep watching, keep supporting the sport, and hey, there's a good guy and there's a bad guy. Follow the right guy.
ChampsTalk, als je knokken niet meer krijgt uit je kop. ChampsTalk, ouwe hoeren zonder rem op de knop. strijders en mijn vechters pas zinnen. Ga lekker zitten en laten we beginnen met de ChampsTalk.